So there's an article here from Vanity Fair. This one is about Bernie Sanders he made a statement, regarding Elizabeth Warren, and he was asked what what do you think is leading to her popularity, and he was asked this on CNN actually. So he obviously had a theory, and he gave his honest opinion. And honestly, it seems like they want to kind of try and, pit Bernie against Elizabeth Warren. So they're trying to get him to comment on whatever popularity that she has and whatever statements that she advocates for. So, they're going to make sure to press him on those kind of things. So he did an interview with Andrew Cuomo, where he answered these kind of questions. This article is from Mediaite, and it says, let's see. So the title of the article says, Bernie Sanders says Elizabeth Warren catching up to him because people would like to see a woman elected. So a lot of people obviously were making this argument when Hillary Clinton was running in 2016. Bernie Sanders was obviously running against her in the primary. A lot of people said that people wanted to vote for, they wanted to vote for somebody because, they wanted to vote for Hillary because she was a woman, because you wanted to get your first female president. So in this regard, Bernie decided to kind of, I guess, cater to that opinion. So let me just play you the video of this exchange that he had with CNN host Andrew Cuomo. I'm sorry, not Andrew Cuomo, Chris Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo's Chris Cuomo's dad. Chris Cuomo asked him some questions here. So let's play this here, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Right. Before you got to make it out of the primary. Elizabeth Warren and current polling is catching up to you. You got her, Biden, and you are now at the top of the polls. Let's talk about each of them. What do you think the reason is that Elizabeth Warren is catching up to you in polls? Do you believe that people see her as the more electable version of Bernie Sanders?
Well, I think we are running against a lot of problems. I think that there are a certain number of people who would like to see a woman elected, and I understand that. There are people who would like to see somebody who is younger, and I understand that also. There are a lot of factors out there. Elizabeth is a friend of mine. I think she's running a good campaign. But at the end of the day, Chris, whether it's Biden or Warren, Elizabeth Warren or anybody else, what I believe is that, in fact, I am the strongest candidate to defeat Donald Trump. And I think some of the polling shows that. I believe that our campaign can win in the states we have got to win, and that is Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Florida. And in all of those states, the polling has me at this point ahead, and I think that numbers will only grow in the months ahead.
True. The tweet you had today about this situation is you said the cat's out of the bag. Corporate wing of the Democratic Party is publicly anybody but Bernie. They know our progressive agenda of Medicare for all, breaking up big banks, taking on drug companies, and raising wages is the real threat to the billionaire class. The assertion aside, Elizabeth Warren can't be their poster child then, right? I mean, she's been going after corporate conglomerates in a big way for a long time.
That tweet was not about Elizabeth Warren at all. All right, not at all. Elizabeth is a friend of mine, and we're going to run, I hope, just simply issue-oriented campaigns. This was, though, a very strong statement about a group called Third Way. And you know that Third Way is the corporatist wing of the Democratic Party. And I am a little bit tired of hearing from these people, and this is not the first time that I've heard about it, and they say, we will support anybody except Bernie Sanders. So I don't mind taking on all of corporate America and Trump and the Republican Party, but I have a question for Third Way, and that is, if I win the Democratic nomination, I think we got a good shot at that, who are they going to support? Are they going to support Donald Trump, or are they going to support Bernie Sanders? Chris, one of the very first questions that I was asked when I got into this race, people said, Bernie, if you don't win, will you support another Democratic candidate? And I said, absolutely. I will do everything I can to defeat Donald Trump. And if that candidate turns out to be a lot more conservative than me, somebody like a Joe Biden or somebody else, I will knock my brains out to see that he or she is elected, because I want to defeat Donald Trump. So I'm asking this corporate wing of the Democratic Party, a Wall Street funded group called Third Way, if I win the nomination, are you going to be there with me, or are you going to go over to Donald Trump?
We will reach out to them during the show, see if I can get you an answer in real time. It is a worthy question to be answered by them.
So Bernie Sanders, obviously, as usual, he says something great there. He calls out, he calls out the same organization we're talking about, Third Way, which is obviously seems to be a big part of the podcast this week. He's calling them out, and he's making sure to ask them, who are you going to support? Are you going to support me if I become the candidate? Now, maybe they will, maybe they won't. My guess is a group like Third Way ultimately will, but they're not going to endorse. I don't see Third Way going out of their way to endorse Bernie Sanders. I could see them saying we don't support Trump, so we support, we don't support Donald Trump. That's it. But we support whoever the Democratic candidate is. But are they going to go out there and just say we support Bernie Sanders? No. And honestly, he doesn't need their support. It doesn't really matter. No regular person out there, no centrist, anti-Trump voter, resistance voter, the resistance, kind of the anti-Trump resistance out there. Nobody is going out there and wondering, I wonder who the centrist Third Way people are going to support. Who are they going to vote for? Nobody gives a shit. Ultimately, that just comes down to, whether whether or not Third Way is going to support him, because, Bernie Sanders wants to know what kind of attacks he's going to have to endure. So if he's going to have to endure attacks about becoming more moderate and stuff, then, then that's a big deal. But as far as them supporting him, Bernie doesn't need their support, And, so when it comes to Elizabeth Warren, he didn't say anything wrong there. That was a perfectly normal question a perfectly normal way to answer a question. He's saying that some people want to vote for a candidate because they're a woman. Some people want to vote for somebody because they're younger. What is he saying that's wrong? People have literally said that. That's what people said in 2016 when people were saying Bernie Sanders should get out of the race and he shouldn't be running anymore, and he should just allow Hillary Clinton to be anointed by the establishment and the Democratic Party and the American people. People were saying, yeah, we have to support a woman because she needs to become the first female candidate to become president, blah blah blah. So it was. That was a narrative they were putting out there, and it was so fucking obvious that they just wanted Hillary Clinton because she was a woman. And honestly, it seems like that's what they're doing with Elizabeth Warren now. So Elizabeth Warren to these people is the compromise candidate for the identity politics obsessed, neo-feminists, Third Way feminists out there who want a woman as president, but they're like, okay, we couldn't get Hillary Clinton 2016, so okay, we'll settle for Elizabeth Warren, because at the same time, maybe not them specifically, but at the same time, they know she's going to be so-called palatable because the centrist Third Way type organizations, as Bernie was referring to, they know that they can water her down and make her more palatable for themselves, so that they can promote her and talk about how she's not Bernie. So, and like Bernie said, they want to push for anybody that's not Bernie, anybody but not Bernie. Anybody but Bernie. So. Ultimately, it's anybody that isn't progressive, basically. So you just want anybody that's just like a sellout and that's just going to, go against what Trump wants and do whatever, push for whatever policies that the establishment pushes for. But you don't want to be like a racist. You don't want to be a racist asshole like him. So as long as you're not that, that's wonderful and perfect for the establishment, because they love that. That's what they want. So, and then, but so the interesting twist that was, given to that was given to us regarding Bernie Sanders' statement about how some people want, a woman for president. Vanity Fair came out with an article, a very short article. I'm not going to read it to you guys, but the headline is interesting, and I would say in many ways it's defamatory, and it's it's libel because it's not, you're just completely make something up. But anyway, it says Sanders, so as if they're quoting Sanders, it says Sanders, it says Sanders says Warren is surging because she's got ovaries. He obviously never said that, so I don't even know what they're talking about. It says and then the subheadline says Bernie referred to the desire to see a woman in the Oval Office as a problem his campaign is facing. So I don't think that's what he said. I just watched the segment. He didn't say it was a problem that a woman is going to be running, or it's a problem that, or it's a problem that people want to see a woman. I mean, that's I don't really. If anything, he's saying that it's that the other candidates. Of course, it could be it can be interpreted or misinterpreted that way by the people that write articles like this and try and smear Bernie. But what I saw Bernie as saying, because if I would have seen him as saying that it's a problem that that people want to vote for a woman as president, wouldn't he have said that in 2016 too? Because he was running against a woman in the primary. So what I thought Bernie Sanders was saying when he referred to the problem, how it's a problem for his candidacy, is that he's saying, I am running against people, or I'm running against candidates that other people want. So it's just like any other primary, any other election. Certain people want him, certain people want his opponent. They want, in this case, they want Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, I don't know, Cory Booker, whoever. Throw anybody, Pete Buttigieg, Beto O'Rourke, whatever. They want all these other candidates, and some of them want him, some of them want them. So that's what I saw Bernie as saying. I didn't see him as saying that it's a problem that people want to vote for a woman. It's total bullshit. They just made that up, but that's the thing. They want to. Publications like this, they want to put out smear pieces about how Bernie is sexist. Essentially, this is another attempt at him supposedly being sexist because he's saying that a woman is a problem for him. So because a woman is running, that's a problem for him. And in other words, Bernie is saying, well, we can't have this problem. We can't have this problem of a woman getting in my way of becoming president because it's terrible, because I have to win and it's terrible for me, and it's, that's I can't have something like that happening. Basically is what they're completely misrepresenting what he's saying, and they're trying to play gotcha. And in these days, one thing I've noticed is that, and this was something that was kind of similarly happening in 2016 as well, is they're trying to pick on every little thing that Bernie says and then just saying, aha, we gotcha. You said this supposedly controversial thing, or what we portray as being controversial, and then we're going to get you. And then we're going to nail it on you, and then we're going to say, you said this, and then we're going to make everybody think this is what you think, and you're a sexist, and whatever. If he says something they think is racist, they're going to say that too. So he's supposedly racist, and then he's doesn't respect black people. He doesn't respect women. So you do want this guy running for president? That's what it's going to be. And it's going to be just smear after smear after smear after smear. So this is the goal, man. I mean, they want to make sure that Bernie Sanders is not going to become the nominee because they know how popular his policies are. They know how much people want him to become president, especially the progressive base, the populist base, the young people, millennials like myself. They know how much we support Bernie Sanders, and they know that he's going to be a thorn in their side. So they have to come up with every possible cheap shot, bullshit, bullshit headline in an article or an argument or some kind of mischaracterization to pretend that, he is a horrible candidate and that he's not going to defeat Trump, even though he said, like he said in that interview, that he is the one that he's going to defeat Trump. So when Third Way and all these groups come out there and they say these things about him, they're desperate. They're desperate. They know Bernie is a threat, and they know his policies are popular, and has a serious chance of winning. Otherwise, they wouldn't be attacking him so hard. But then they claim, oh, well, he's not going to defeat Trump because Trump is going to talk about how he's a socialist. But then, like I've said before, you're going to refer to someone as a socialist anyway, even if they're, whether they're the most centrist of Democrats or not. So it doesn't really matter. Those labels don't mean shit. Ultimately, when you put out the policies, people are going to want those policies. They're going to try and see who supports allowing these people to, have prosperity in their lives and live a decent life. Not get screwed over in the same ways they've been getting screwed over by the establishment and politicians that don't keep their promises. Now, Bernie Sanders might not be able to accomplish everything that he's promising, but at least he's willing to fight for it, and he's willing to fight against the people that have always been in the way of those policies happening. So, and Bernie knows that, and he's making sure that people understand that he's going to be the one that is going to be pushing for these things, while all these other candidates are not, because they're palatable enough for these politicians. So what do? You just smear Bernie as a sexist and a racist and a misogynist, whatever, and then that's it. And then you can make sure that Elizabeth Warren or Joe Biden or whoever gets in there, and then they can make sure to focus on beating Trump, but ultimately they're going to end up losing to Trump, because Trump is going to have the much more convincing tone, and he's going to have the ability to say things in better ways, while Democrats, can't make decent arguments to save their lives.